Premier Real Estate of Texas. Being a driving force in the Austin and surrounding hill country areas, Cloe Sill has positioned the Premier Real Estate of Texas Group as an industry leader, growing agents and expanding its reach to the real estate markets in the broader Texas area. Visit premierrealestateoftexas.com today for all your real estate needs. At Premier Real Estate of Texas, Texas is our brand. Hi, I'm Mindy Hofman, and welcome to the Women of Austin podcast. We're igniting the power of women's voices. Hello, and welcome to the Women of Austin podcast. I'm your host, Mindy Hofman. Thank you so much for tuning in today. Today I have a wonderful group of women here that I'm really excited for you to hear from, and I'm just happy I get to hang out with y'all.
Yay.
Yeah, we're happy too.
Yay. I want to start with a question, just kind of getting to know you guys better. What did you want to be when you were a kid? What did you want to be when you grew up? Andi.
My name is Andi Scull, and I'm from Austin, Texas. I am a creative director and art park developer. Hope Outdoor Gallery is an 18-acre outdoor art park and technology center that we're building across from the Austin airport for the Austin community. I'm really appreciative to be a part of the Women of Austin podcast because it's important that we are a community together. I'm real excited for all the growth that's going on in our city, especially as more women are getting together doing great projects like this. I don't have the best answer, but I do have a memory of when I was around 12, and my mom used to always bring us to the library, and being an immigrant Chinese woman, it was real important that we knew what we wanted to be.
Oh.
Because by middle school in Singapore, they put you in the school that's going to be the direction that you're going to go.
Middle school?
Yeah.
Wow.
So I just remember at 12, I was really into some show, I can't remember, Law and Order or something.
Yes.
And I was like, I'm going to be a lawyer. I just remember watching some woman argue on television. But then come 17, I then clearly knew that I then told my mom that I was going to be an art director.
17.
Yeah, because
Nice.
it was also important to her that I knew. Mm-hmm. So I had to make these decisions. But I do remember by 12 years old being like, I want to be a badass lawyer.
Yes.
I want to argue with people and win. Anyway.
I love that.
Hi, my name is Cloe Sill, and I am a native born and raised Texan. I am a real estate agent, and I own our brokership, Premier Real Estate of Texas. I service the commercial and luxury residential, as well as farm and ranch and recreational, which is the one that's dear to my heart since I am from a farm and ranch background. Well, I am honored to be a part of the Women's Podcast today. I've met a lot of women from different industries, and I just love their willingness to want to contribute to the community.
I wanted to be a trader on Wall Street.
Really? Wow.
Yeah, so I took a little bit different detour. I did get my accounting degree and had an accounting and tax practice, but never made it to Wall Street.
Wow. I love this question.
I'm Terri Broussard Williams, and I live in Austin, Texas. Like many women out there, I have a daytime job, and then my superpowers come out at night. By day, I'm a tech lobbyist, and at night, I serve as the founder of Movement Maker and an author of a book called Find Your Fire. Movement Maker is a platform where anyone who wants to be a leader that turns a moment into a movement can visit. There's a blog, a podcast, and even tips, stories, and tools to help them take the very first step they need to take action. And you'll get all the details of Find Your Fire, which is a book about women who have created change either in business, their community, and some of them have even started a nonprofit. I am so honored to be a part of this podcast because so many times we are told that we have to compete against each other, and that's certainly not the case. The women who are part of this podcast are indeed part of a movement, and they each are shining a light around us. So for me, it's a little fuel for my fire and for my soul.
Terri, what you got?
Gosh, I'm always team too much. So I would like role play two different things. A teacher, I had my little chalkboard, in the bedroom set up with some dolls. And then I also wanted to be a doctor. Oh. And so in middle school and high school, I actually went to Xavier University every summer to learn biology. And at some point I was like, this is not fun. This is not me.
Yeah.
What about you? Yeah, you just I'm just trying to do that.
I thought it was on the way.
Almost got away with it. No. I wanted to be a lawyer as well. I was really good at winning arguments with my brother. So I thought, and I thought that it was just all arguing. And so and winning, just like you said, I was really excited about it. But then I got a little bit older and I grew up in LA and I wanted to be an actress. So, that was my dream for a while. And then, ended up going to art school and having an e-commerce business and now this. So,
and you were an actress in LA, right?
I did a little bit. Yeah.
I think that's so cool.
Yeah. It was really cool. I've met some beautiful people, like, because when you're doing acting, you really bond because you have to get vulnerable and emotional, and it was like therapy. So it was also good for me in my early 20s. I want to talk with you guys about collaboration over competition. I've been seeing it pop up in articles and talking about it with people, and I just think that it's really important. Like, teamwork makes the dream work, right? And I want to know what your experience with it has been. I want to start with you, Andi, because in the art world, I imagine that it can go either way because you can be doing like a group project, or if you're an individual artist, you probably don't want to collaborate with anyone. But I don't know. Like, enlighten me.
Oh, wow.
No pressure. Just, big question.
No, I love this topic. And, well, first, I wanted to bring up, I think there's also two different potential directions of the conversation. Mm-hmm. Collaboration and competition within women, and then in general, in terms of businesses. So in the art world, I definitely have been a curator or producer that has always explained that I work best with artists that see their talent as a gift to the world. And it's not that I don't understand at all those that see it more as something that highlights themselves. So that's been my way for, I think, 2 decades, to just start with artists and say, here's the best way I work, and if you're into collaboration, then we're gonna kick it. And if you're not, I'll help you however I can. But this is normally like the way I am the most helpful. So that's
great. It's nice that you know yourself and that you can explain it clearly too. That's impressive.
So it's the same as curating either a solo show or a group show, and I'm always better for those that are down for the group show. But as an artist myself, I also have found the importance of figuring out really what does work best for you and whatever you're trying to accomplish with your goals, or say your family or your project. So sometimes I've found that it's super important that I put more of a highlight on just me. So even I feel this show and kind of doing women stuff.
Yep.
And just making the time for this type of collaboration, even though it isn't me like highlighting it's not me doing what I normally do, if that makes sense. It's more of a focus on just me.
Yeah.
But that's why I wanted to bring up the whole women collaborating or competing too. I found that to be kind of a different topic over the past couple of years.
Yeah, definitely one that's at the forefront of the media I'm getting. Terri, what are your thoughts? I know that I know that you have a lot of experience with this.
Yes. I want to touch on something you said, because as you were talking, something came to mind. Like, we're always taught there's no I in team, but what I heard from you is there's an I in investing, and you've been investing in others. And I thought that was really cool in the way that you laid out how you view collaborating with others. And that led me to thinking about the people that have invested in me. And so, I am a lobbyist by my day profession, and I run a platform for change makers as my superpower at night.
Yep.
But in my role as a vice president of government relations, I was responsible for giving out lucrative contracts to external government relations consultants. And oftentimes I would look for someone that was of color or female because, traditionally they're overlooked. But this one time, I just lost my favorite contract lobbyist and had to find another. And so I began interviewing people. And so I interviewed this woman who was just incredible, is on the history books at the Texas State Capitol for being the first Black chief of staff in the House. And somewhere along question number 2, she started asking me questions. And I was like, no, I sign the invoice every month. Like, I'm asking questions. But what I realized is she was older than me. And although I was in a position to hire her, she wanted to invest in me. And so now she's one of my closest friends and confidants, and her brother just passed away, and we got together and just shared a meal to celebrate that. And we haven't worked together in 4 years.
That's nice. You were able to form that relationship.
So how long did it take you? What time frame was it that you kind of flipped that way of thinking?
She made it really clear in that first meeting, even without saying it, right? Because she commanded that conversation and truly asked me questions. She asked me who had I dated in town.
Oh, okay.
I was like, what? But that was when I began to understand, like, she wanted to get to know me. And I feel like you always have a choice. I could have chose to, like, pull out my title and this authority that I had at the table being the person that was hiring, or I could choose to listen and understand why she was asking me that question. And with her just being this history maker, I opted for learning from her.
Great, yeah.
And she always had my back. So I knew when the staff weren't working as hard as they could, or I knew when something was coming that I needed to digest. And so it made for a great partnership.
Now, Chloe, you're in real estate, and I can't imagine how competitive it must be, especially in Austin. It's growing.
Very, very competitive and exciting. Lots of opportunities. And the way that I look at collaboration versus competition is healthy. But think of like a tug of war. You've got this person on this end of the rope, this person on this end of the rope, and your client's in the middle. So when you're tugging and you're pulling and you're getting rope burn and everything, the loser falls on their tail. The winner's over here and they've won, but they're all roped burn and they're tired and they're worn out. And then you have the client in the middle that they didn't get the full benefit of these people collaborating, and then nobody really wins.
Yeah.
But instead of pulling each other apart, and I think competition, you just feel like you have to survive, and there's a fear there, and that's why you feel competitive and you don't collaborate. But because I've been there, I've wanted to protect my own and not collaborate because I didn't want to give what I know. Well, then I'm not going to learn either. If I'm not going to open up and give my experiences, then I'm not going to get and learn either. And so you stifle yourself when you're not collaborating.
I think that it's well, first of all, I love that analogy. I always love analogies.
That's beautiful.
But I think that it's interesting too that that you point out that one person, like, no one wins.
Right.
At all. And it may look like you have a winner, and that kind of brings me to the thought of, like, it's lonely on top, right? If you get all the way up and you're successful and you did it by knocking other people down or being selfish or, just alone, like, you didn't even have to do bad things. That's not where I'd want to be.
For sure. I was just thinking that, even the past year, this other part of life that's come up that's going to hopefully show a huge shift within this conversation is crypto. You know, that competition and like this, where does that entirely come from? And if it is in these areas of monetization and success, well, suddenly now we've really opened up like all these other arenas. And so that's been a big part of my task this year, is figuring out our whole NFT and crypto program with the art park. But me seeing more of it as more playing field, you know, where more collaboration can really start to happen, because competition starts to fall away if everyone can benefit in these different ways. So that's been really, really fascinating for me to watch.
Yeah, it's so new, and I know a lot of people are confused about it, and a lot of I get a lot of spammy ads about it, and so that turns me off, and that made me want to stop and do my research and try to figure out and learn more. But
yeah, and I'm just bringing it up because you brought up the art world and started with me on that, and it is a huge part of what we're dealing with in the art world and the art space right now.
Yeah. There are already lawsuits, like big companies are suing people for having sneakers, you know, NFTs or. I need some collaboration because I don't know enough about this. So if y'all are listening, shoot me a DM and help me out.
Yeah. Well, and that's exactly, a lot of that is going on in the art world right now, where I then find someone, I let other artists know, hey, if you're interested, I've got this person ready to talk so you can learn more, because there's so much space for everyone. And we're just getting started, and it's going to change so many things. So.
Hi, my name is Mindy Hofman, and I'm from Los Angeles, California. I'm the founder of Women of Austin, and we have our show, obviously, and we're putting a book together and coming up with some great community events. It was important to me to be able to share the stories of women in the community, and I wanted to get them out as quickly as possible and in front of as many people as possible, because everything that I was hearing and learning from these women when I was meeting with them was so important and so touching and moving. I felt compelled to get everyone together and in front of the camera so we can share it with as many people as possible. I'd like people to know that we are inclusive. Everybody's invited, everybody's welcome. We're doing monthly events, and we're just really focusing on getting women together where we can all be ourselves and be vulnerable. And I'm hoping to have conversations where we can tell stories of times when we were vulnerable and how we were able to come out of it. It's important to me that we show that we're not all perfect, because often it's easy to show up Instagram ready and yes, hair and makeup done. But I think that it's important that we show who we really are. And I really want to focus on collaboration, community, and connection. I know that together we can make really important things happen, and we can make our lives better, and we can make the lives of those around us better. Whenever I think about this topic, I always go to mentorship. And I think that mentoring is very important. If anyone's inspired to tell a story about a great mentor they've had, I always love hearing that, and it always just inspires me.
Chloe? Oh, I have the best of the best, Tony Robbins.
I
just finished up the business mastery, and I had done the IWA in Florida in November.
Yep.
But just phenomenal. I mean, just the areas from health and wellness to your business to your relationships, it all comes together, and it makes you successful. It makes you really put life in perspective, not just your business, and to bring it all together. So Tony Robbins is my go-to.
Nice. Nice. I know he's helped a lot of people.
Yeah.
So earlier, one of my mentors, who I now call Sister Denise, came to mind because I could have chosen to compete against her as a woman in the political field, but instead chose to collaborate her and now call her sister. But another mentor that comes to mind is someone who, in a couple of months, I hope I get to talk about her just publicly and openly with her name. But I grew up in my 20s in Columbia, South Carolina. And it was the first time I saw young Black professionals actually doing things, doctors, lawyers, elected officials, where I grew up that just didn't exist. And so I just fell in love with this group of women that were about 10 years older than me, and they would tote me around to receptions and events and whatnot. And so one of them saw something in me that I didn't see in myself, which is how we grow quite often. And so she invited me to take her spot on an advisory board at a Catholic school and to be the gala chair of their fundraiser. And so that was my first nonprofit board and the first time that I chaired an event. And then her second assignment was to plan her wedding in Jamaica.
What? Wow.
Lucky me.
Nice.
But I got to see that I could plan large scale events and help others, and I became confident, and I shifted into the spot that she once sat in, which was community leader.
I love that. And I love this topic too, because growing up, mentors completely shaped and changed my life. And then I started practicing mentoring as soon as I could, and really try and encourage that too with other artists and creatives. So by my first ad agency job, I was 21, right out of college, and our first intern, I then sat down with him and was like, listen, if you'd like to do a mentorship with me, I've had mentors since I was 2 years old, and, really learning and seeing the importance of, there's no team captain without a team. There's no coach without students, that literally when the student is ready, the teacher appears. Yeah. The wisest wise woman knows that she knows nothing, that it is a mutual beneficial relationship that must go on and on and on. So yeah, during pandemic, I completed my 17th mentorship. I'm just now bringing another artist that I'm mentoring, and then I'm always actively looking for new mentors in my life.
Yeah.
And even last night, sent videos from 3 that I had in my 30s to another friend, just more constantly sharing the exchange of people and information and how we create like community. So it's so critical.
It really is. And I like the way that you were able to sum it up. And like, you've had a mentor since you were 2, and you're still looking for mentors, and you are mentoring. It's just nice to think about it in the big picture, that is something that is with you your whole life, and that it's really important. And I want to hear who your mentor was when you were 2.
Oh, man, thank you. My parents divorced when I was around 2, 3, and this couple took my mom and my brother and I in, and we lived with them. So I always called them my surrogate grandma and grandpa. My grandma and Grandpa Holland. And this couple, they taught me and my brother how to play poker, how to make apple pie from scratch. We had to recite poetry every day before we came home from school to play. Yeah, and this couple, my grandma, she was one of the first female pilots in history.
Wow.
And her husband, my Grandpa Holland, had 18 patents on his wall, and they're just a brilliant couple. But I could tell it wasn't just love of children. It was truly an interest to want to share knowledge that they had. And so we have pictures of me at like the first time I met him. I was like gravitated to him, and I would just go sit there, and he would talk to me like an adult, not like a child. He would, take his glasses down, and he would read to me, and it wasn't this like talk to you like a baby. He talked to me like an adult, and so that wow. I felt started my journey, understanding our capacities and how much we have to learn and to give.
Oh, I love that. It's beautiful.
Yeah. They sound incredible. That's so great that you had them. And
yeah, no, I definitely don't take it for granted. So what about you?
Well, for me, I've done so many different things, and I've done tried so many different things, and I moved a lot. And so for me, it's just been looking up to my mom and working with my mom. She's been the most important woman in my life, and the woman who I look to for guidance. And then I have other women in different fields. So I have like mommies that I look up to that I call and, can say, what do I do? I think she's going to burn the house down. Like, I don't know what to do anymore. So I have mommies to talk me off the ledge and who I look up to. And then in business, I can think of different women over the years who have taught me different things. But I've never stayed around long enough in one place to have someone long term. I mean, I still stay in touch with some of the women who helped me, but yeah.
I'm like TV timeout though, because we've witnessed the birth of this brand and this movement that you're building, and you have brought so many people along, your journey, and even the people that are helping you with your Instagram, those are all your mentees, your little snug bunnies. So yeah, you're definitely gifting people with all the gifts that they gave you.
Thank you. Well, I do think it's important that we help each other and lift each other up as much as we can.
I think you're mentoring incognito and you just don't know it.
Yes, even this podcast, like, I know. Yes, like spirit fingers to those who you're mentoring on the other side, listening or watching.
Premier Real Estate of Texas. Being a driving force in the Austin and surrounding hill country areas, Cloe Sill has positioned the Premier Real Estate of Texas Group as an industry leader, growing agents and expanding its reach to the real estate markets in the broader Texas area. Visit premierrealestateoftexas.com today for all your real estate needs. At Premier Real Estate of Texas, Texas is our brand. Thank you for being here. I really enjoyed this conversation, and
thank you for having us.
Yes, I hope to see you guys back again. And one quote that I love that I just kind of want to leave you guys with is that real queens straighten each other's crowns.
Yes.
And I feel like you guys are all real queens. So
thank you.
And we also tell each other when you have red lipstick on your teeth. #facts.
Yeah. Thanks so much for joining us today on the Women of Austin podcast. A new episode premieres twice a month right here on the Women of Austin channel. Make sure to subscribe and hit that notifications bell so you never miss an episode. Make sure to follow us on Instagram at women_of_Austin. My name is Mindy Hofman. I hope you'll join us for our next episode of the Women of Austin podcast.